U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping will be meeting tomorrow on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Osaka. The meeting comes amid an escalating trade war. Here's a look at the events that have led up to it. It began in January last year when the U.S. slapped 30% tariffs on imported solar panels and 20% tariffs on washing machines, a decision that did not sit well with China, the world's largest supplier of solar panels. Less than 2 months later, in the name of national security, President Trump signed a tariff order on imported steel and aluminium from all nations, including China. In response, Beijing imposed tariffs on $3 billion worth of U.S. products. Then, making the first major move against China, the U.S. unveiled plans for tariffs on $50 billion worth of Chinese imports. Wasting no time, China hit back the next day with tariffs on American products, with a combined trading value of $50 billion. These products included chemicals, soybeans, and automobiles. Tensions escalated sharply in June after the U.S. declared that it would make good on its threat to slap a 25% tariff on $50 billion worth of Chinese goods. The Trump administration has accused China of engaging in intellectual property theft and other unfair trade practices. China struck back, announcing its own tariffs on $50 billion worth of U.S. products. And then it was official. In July, the first sets of tariffs kicked in, impacting $34 billion of goods on each side. The second round of tariffs came into effect in August, impacting $16 billion of each other's goods. And in September, the U.S. finalized its list of 10% tariffs on $200 billion of Chinese goods. It would increase to 25% on January 1st. China responded in kind, implementing 10% tariffs on $60 billion of American goods. Fast forward to December, with both sides determined to hammer out a trade deal, President Trump and Xi agreed to a 90-day truce. The U.S. agreed to delay at the tariff hike promised for the 1st of January. But failing to reach a deal, the U.S. then doubled down on China, hiking tariffs from 10 to 25% on $200 billion of Chinese goods. China, too, responded by raising its initial 10% tariff on $60 billion of U.S. products to 25%. Edging closer to an all-out trade war, the U.S. also blacklisted Huawei, effectively banning U.S. companies from working with the Chinese telecom giant. China then released a white paper, fully blaming the U.S. for trade tensions and denouncing what it called U.S. protectionist measures. And just as it looks like the conflict will continue to get worse, trade talks are rekindled as Presidents Xi and Trump agreed to meet at the G20 summit in Osaka. While some say this should be seen as a win, there is still the threat from President Trump to slap tariffs on the remaining $300 billion of untaxed Chinese imports after the G20 meeting.